welcome to another episode of the Coach Kellie Speak Show. I am here with my friend Janai Childress. Hi, girl.
Hi, how are you today?
And so today we're gonna just be talking, having some straight talk, girl talk. It is one of those things that I wanted to do just from now on, and just talking about just real life issues and just things that's going on in our communities, things that because I believe that our life should make positive impact. So today I was on my way home from leaving the shop. And I don't know if I've just been super duper busy, but I literally run out of gas today. Like, I have never run out of gas. Like, my car tells me how many miles,
Right.
but just because this weekend was just so jam packed, I just was just going. And when I realized, I'm like, what is going on with my car? And I looked down, and I'm like,
No gas.
I was like, oh my God, I have never. That's never. Like, I'm laughing at it now, but I was crying so bad on the side of the road, and this guy came and he helped me. But the thing about it that touched me the most was the fact that he said that he was on drugs really, really bad, and God changed his life. And he was saying that he was sitting there and he was talking to his friend, and for that whatever reason, he just couldn't leave. And he says when he saw my car and I pulled over and turned on my hazards, he was like, maybe that's who I was sitting here the whole time to help, or something's going on. So he was just literally right there. And I was so nervous. Of course, he was like, you don't have to get in the car with me. And I was like, I'm not going to get in the car with you.
We're not playing no games.
And so he literally, gave me my receipt. He put the gas in my car, and he was just telling me the story of his life and just things that he's been through, and that's his reason why he gives back so much. It's because of the things that he went through. And so I just was like, I have never experienced anything like that, but it really was great because I felt good. Like, there's genuine people that's just
There are
in this
definitely
earth.
genuine people left out here. In today's society, sometimes we think that they aren't, just because of all the things that everyone is going through. And I just think that everybody's just really sensitive right now with all the issues going on in America. But there are good people out there.
Yeah,
They
and
are.
so let's just talk about America first of all. It is so much it's so much going on right now. Like, oh my God! So they had a march
Yes, Saturday. Every
Saturday,
Saturday. Very
and
successful.
very, very successful. And can you pull up that picture? My niece was there. I was not able to be there.
Yeah, I didn't.
And so I like cried when I saw her out there. I mean, she is 10 years old. That's Kennedy, and our friend Mo that's with her. And I just was like, wow, like just to see her just fighting for what she believes in. It just touched my heart so much. And so it's something that we have to talk about.
Definitely. I think the march was very successful. I think a lot of people weren't sure if it was going to go over as well as it did. I think those students from Florida really set a standard. I love how they incorporated other schools, other ethnicities in the program. And it just didn't focus on the school shootings, but it just focused on gun violence as a whole.
Yeah.
And it was just very powerful how a lot of those students spoke. What's her name? Emma Gonzalez. Very powerful in her speech, and the silence she gave, a moment of silence for 6 minutes and 22 minutes. 6 minutes 22 seconds, and it was just powerful. Like, you could hear her breathing while she was doing it, and you could just see the passion and her crying. Just from everything that she had went through. Another one that really stuck out for me was Naomi Weiler, the 11-year-old. Was like, yes, yes. She was amazing. She was so articulate, and even when the crowd was, clapping for her, she was just very poised and just like I said, articulate with everything she was saying. And it just, as an educator, it made me feel good. It just really made me feel good.
You want to see our kids stand up because they're the next generation that's
Yes.
coming.
Yes.
And to see that it was kids, not just in D.C., but just
all over.
That was so powerful. And as an educator yourself, it's like, I just couldn't imagine what those moments are like.
We talk about it all the time in the schools, but you really don't know unless you're in the moment. So, if an intruder does come into school, you don't know what you're going to do. You haven't been trained for that. And that's what, as educators, we always discuss, like, do we really want guns in our classroom?
Yeah.
Like,
kind of, yeah, right? When you want to be packing a little bit?
I don't know if I want to be packed. Because this is how I explain it to everybody. When you are trained to be a Navy SEAL, you are trained to be a Navy SEAL. There are things that you know on the instinct that you're supposed to do. When you're a doctor, you are trained to do surgery or whatever field you go in the medical field.
Yeah, okay.
As an educator,
I can see where you're going.
As an educator, I'm teaching ABCs and 1, 2, 3, and teaching babies how to think. And so for me, at that split second, to decide, let me go get this gun real quick because I can't.
Yeah,
I can't. And I might come off a little gangster every now and then, and it's okay. But to carry a gun in a school with children, at elementary school, it's not.
I was even thinking about it because I was having a conversation when we were leaving the conference. Some of the conference ladies from Women Dow are great. We had just sat down, we were eating, and so we were talking about it because my mom is a teacher, and my mom, she's at Ballou High School, and they had a drive-by, and it was like moments before she even got to the door. And so she was just like, only thing she could do was literally just to duck. Like, it was nothing to do. And so another young lady who's a professor at VCU, VSU, she was saying she was there at the active shooting. And she says, like, some of her colleagues were, like, hiding under cars. It was just, like, she says, even in that moment, like, her husband's there, different people were there. She was like, I wasn't thinking about my husband. Like, I just lost track of where he was. Yeah, I
just think at that very split second, if you've never been in a situation like that, you really can't say what you would do. And being in the classroom with 18 to 25 kids, if a situation comes, you potentially have to protect those students, but you still human. Yeah. I have my own children. Yeah, I have a spouse. So it's like, it's a split second decision, and we're just not trained for that. So for me, Miss Childress, no, I'm not packing. I'm just gonna continue teaching my ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. I can't.
And because that's the thing we were like saying, okay, so what if, what if it was like, and even in your what ifs, you just don't know, because not only would you have to train the teachers, but you have to also train the kids.
Well, we have drills are allotted throughout the school year. So you have your fire drills. You have your, depending on where you are in the country, you may have a storm drill or hurricane drill. And now they're starting to do the intruder drills, but they're not. I just think in certain areas they don't do them. Here in DC, we don't really. We'll have a lockdown. That's what we call just a lockdown. And, you lock down your room, you turn the lights out, and you just sit there and just be quiet. But, it's just, you don't know until you're in that situation.
For me, I think is when I saw Maryland.
Yeah.
Like, I lost it. Yeah. Like, when I saw Maryland just come up on my timeline, like, I lost it. I was just like, no, this is just too close to home. Yeah. And then it's like at one point, it was maybe, once a year or every couple of years. But there have been 6 active shootings just this year.
For me, I believe that the major problem is the resources that the schools don't have. So, everybody's talking about gun control, but somebody has to hold that gun and pull that trigger. So a lot of times when children, whoever has access to these guns, a lot of the issues are mental health issues. They are not addressed in the schools. Wow. They're just not addressed in the schools. So you have these kids like the shooter from Columbine, or you have the young man that shot the school up in Florida. They had major issues, issues that were not discussed, issues were that you could clearly see sometimes when these students are going through things. You can just look at them when they walk through that door. You're like, oh, it's going to be one of them days today. Yeah. You just know. So a lot of times, I think just the hustle or bustle of being in a school, whether it's elementary, middle, or high, is different. Just different things that you have to always be mindful of. And the children are different ages. Each school is bigger. You have different access in and out these schools and things like that. And it's just very important that all through the country, we just don't have the resources in the schools to deal with these kids.
Because I think a lot of the kids that are coming to that's coming into the schools have been there before. Like those were their schools.
You are
Most of the
right.
time.
Yes,
So
yes.
how would you know? And that's the thing about mental health. And I think that's a really good, good topic, because mental health is one of those things where I think people kind of like shy away from. Like if a person has, I don't know, like if a person has cancer, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you know. But if a person says I'm bipolar, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So how do you say, look, I'm bipolar, I may have those moments, and it's being diagnosed even at younger ages now.
It's being diagnosed earlier with children earlier now, but it's just unfortunate because you have students that will come into the school system and they may be born from an addicted mother, a drug addicted mother, or abusive situation, and it affects these students, and it mentally affects them, and they go from kindergarten, then they're third graders, and then they become these just very aggressive middle school kids, and then they become these high school kids, and they come with withdrawn. And the thing about it's just a cycle. You know, we don't talk about it, we don't discuss it. It's not discussed in the school systems. It's just you don't talk about it. And a lot of people have mental health issues within their families, and you don't talk about it. And that's the thing where it needs to be addressed. And we're so quick to medicate these students to say, okay, well, little Johnny is acting up, and you know he's ADHD and or bipolar or schizophrenic, because those are diagnoses that some of these students have. And the crazy part is, as teachers, we're not trained to deal with that.
Wow.
So when we're not trained to deal with that, you know, if you have 30 kids in your class and little Johnny's acting up, you know, 9 times out of 10, that teacher's gonna try to deal with it.
Right.
Call the office, come get them. Y'all deal with them, because I got to teach these 30 kids, because I got mandates on me. I got testing. I got to keep my, you know, I'm held accountable for what I need to do. So at the end of the day, I think that these schools need to put resources within the schools to help students, to help teachers, to help the parents. And I think that it may help, but it's just I don't know situation. Yeah.
And I think that that's something that, and for those, there's some people who they're great at writing up those, what is it when you go to your senators and you write those letters and you know what I mean? Even the grassroots initiatives, like even the march, bringing awareness to it and saying, you know, at one point, now the kids are saying enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
So I just pray that this is something that will continue to fight. I remember, you know, one day my dad was saying that he had just so happened to go to, I guess, at the Showplace Arena, they have these gun shows. And so he was on his way to me and he saw the sign, so he just walked in and he was just saying it's football fields of guns. Like conventions and conventions and conventions. And it's like, who needs a gun with 90 rounds? And just today's society, to me, I'm baffled that just the everyday, I can just go in and buy a gun that has 90 rounds. And
I think I've taught in inner city for a very long time. I've also taught 2 years in a rural area in North Carolina. And for me, that was the most, it was different, because I had never taught in a rural area before. But there, extracurricular activity was hunting.
Wow.
And they talked about it like we would take our kids to go play Pop Warner football. So I was sitting in class, I'm like, this 5-year-old's talking to me how he went shooting a deer. And I'm like, you got a gun? He's like, yeah. But you know, it's their environment and what they're accustomed to and what it is. But in the inner city, we're not hunting. We got apartment buildings and things like that. But
that would be the last thing that I would think to as an activity. But see, what I don't want to do is say something that bothers me and just make it like yuck. Right. Because it's something that's been going on. Hunting is a fun sport. It's something that people do. You know, it's a huge thing. And so who am I to say that a 5-year-old shouldn't be shooting a deer?
Right. And me either. So for me, it was difficult because I'm looking at the other teachers and the parents like they cry. I'm like, what? Y'all? But, you know, I'm from New York, live in D.C., and I'm like, okay, that's what they do. So,
that's what they do.
You know, you just have to adjust and hope and pray that, you know, people do the right thing. And again, it goes back to for me, it goes back to mental illness. I'm not saying that that's the cause and that's what it is, but, mental illness doesn't have a color. So for me, it's not a black and white issue. It's the person that's holding the gun that has the issue.
Yeah.
And that's what we really need to focus on and say, how do we stop this from happening?
Yeah. And then just making it more comfortable to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Instead of it being like a bad thing.
Right.
Yeah. And so every time I think about just the whole situation, I just pray for my kids every day.
Yeah.
I really do. And I tell them if you sense something, if you feel something, go hide, and make that choice and make that decision based on you hearing. And that for me is like key every day as I send them out to school every single day.
But the sad part, you shouldn't have to have that conversation with your children. A school is supposed to be a safe place. When you leave, when your child leaves out the house for the 6.5 to 8 hours, you're supposed to be comfortable and like, I know they're in a safe place and they're going to get what they need. They're going to get 2 meals, they're going to get a snack, and they're going to get some education.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to worry about if an intruder's going to come in and shoot the school up or it's the world we live in, but it's just sad. It's sad.
It is. It's very, very sad. And so we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the Women Dawa Great Conference that was so amazing on Saturday. We'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Coach Kellie, from the Coach Kellie Speaks Talk Show. I'm here to talk about my brand new book, the 30-Day, 30-Minute Visionary Journal, Awakening the Finisher Within. I wrote this book because I wanted to inspire other people to be finishers in their own personal journey of business and everyday life. So writing this book has really helped me to organize my thoughts a lot better, and has also just made me look at things different and not put so much pressure on myself, because before I would try to compile so much information in at one time, but now it has slowed my pace down a lot, and I'm able to really plan things out in a 30-minute manner. And so I think that now, with different projects that I'm working on, I feel that I'm a little more confident in what it is that I'm doing because I've actually planned it out better. So I hope that people who get this book will have a deeper appreciation for, number one, who they are, what they've been called to, and the people group that they've been called to as well. I also want people to have a clear and step-by-step guide to how to fight against fear and procrastination. I hope that this book will help you to win in each and every level of your life, each and every area of your life. I want this book to change the way you see yourself. When you look yourself in the mirror, that you won't see yourself through the eyes of fear, but that you'll see yourself through the eyes of faith, knowing that you are a finisher and that you will finish each and every project that you put your hands on. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you, gracias, because without you, I would not be able to do what I do, what I love every day, from styling my clients to the boutique, and now my new show, the Coach Kellie Speaks Talk Show. This has been an exciting journey for me. I'm inspired by each and every last one of your comments, how you share my posts, going on to YouTube, leaving comments, just all of that just warms my heart every time I read it. And so I wanted to just let you know that you can buy my book on my website at www.coachkelliespeaks.net. Thank you again for tuning in, and I love you guys so much. Thanks.
Hey guys, and welcome back. I am here with my girl Janai.
Hey, everybody.
She is a 2-time author, and she is like electric. Every time I see her, she's super supportive. She's an amazing friend. I watch her. She's so supportive of all of her friends. Every time I see her, you're on your way somewhere helping somebody, And so this weekend, I was privileged to be able to speak to an amazing group of women at the Women Thou Art Great conference. It was their third annual event. And I want to say it was just such a super duper honor. So thank you, Dr. Sharon Cradle, for having me. And this whole year, I have really been just pushing unity and collaboration amongst women, and that's being more accountable to one another and being friends. And so one of the titles that I had was really "Don't Call Me Sis," which is SUS instead of SIS, because I think it's a word that people are using so loosely these days and not really living up to the authentic nature of what friendship is all about. Yeah.
We have a tendency sometimes as women to, sometimes we'll get a little cliquish, and you don't want to move out of your clique really to see what other people are doing and supporting them and stuff like that. So sometimes we can be very cliquish. And
it's safe though. I think it's more safety than
comfort.
Anything. Yeah.
So I might hit you with a sis every now and then, but it just depends.
Yeah, so there's so many different levels of friendship though, and I think that we have like 10 different friendships that we're going to talk about today. And so everybody is always striving to be that authentic friend. I think everybody believes it, or they do the best that they can to fit into that authentic friend, or they may segue one season they may be super duper close, and then maybe they might just be going through some things, they may shy away. And so the leader friend is the first one that we can talk about. So, yeah, the leader friend, you can talk about that one.
Well, the leader friend, I think, is the one that is, the one that takes charge of everything. Listen, girls, we're going to do this weekend. We're going to go to brunch at 11 o'clock. Y'all make sure y'all get there by 11:30.
Yes.
That friend that always takes the lead. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I think in every set of friends or anything, you always have that alpha. I'm not gonna say alpha male, but you have that dominant person within your group.
Yes, don't wear that.
Yeah,
And
it's so you need that, but you need that type of person in your circle that is the leader. Because sometimes you may fall off a little bit, and they may say, "Listen, I'm in Kellie. I need you to get it together, okay?" So you need that leader friend, and sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, or they can be too aggressive.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how that friendship is and what it's based on. I think.
Yeah. And I think it's hard to be that leader. Like, I think that's a lot of work, just trying to keep your girls together and just being that person that listen. I got this. I'm doing an itinerary.
Right.
You had that one friend. Y'all going on vacation, and they didn't drafted up the itinerary, and they didn't Googled everything, and they on Groupon, and they got everything organized in their binder. So it's a heavy weight. It's a heavy weight to be that leader friend though.
But it's also that person that is very organized and likes to be in control a little bit, and it's okay. It really is okay. It's okay.
Yes.
I mean, and I think we all have a tendency to have that characteristic within ourselves to be a leader and to lead every now and then when it comes to a certain situation.
So we'll move on to the doormats. It was funny because when I asked the ladies, I was like, "So, do you think you're the doormat friend?" And it was one lady who raised her hand. Like, she was just kind of like, because as I'm describing, it's like, that's the one that just like, she don't want no trouble. She's not confrontational. And then you always had that one friend like, girl, you gonna let her stop walking all over you, So some people can fit in that. Like, I just don't want to,
And some of those, doormats. I don't know if they're just, kind of, they may be introverts.
Yeah.
So they may not be, outspoken, or they may be just have that nourishing characteristic where they always want to make sure everybody's okay in the group, or make sure everybody's good, So and sometimes you can take advantage of that, especially when you have a group of women and your characteristics clash a little bit, but I think that's what the beauty of it is.
I think
and why
so
you
too.
have those different type of characteristics within your girlfriends. Because I look at my girlfriends, and we all over the place, but it's a good thing.
And you could set one day I may be that doormat,
right?
And
right.
the doormat and the leader, they gonna clash,
right?
Because you know that leader's like, girl, you let everybody get over you. And then it's just some people who just don't have that fight in them.
Yeah.
You know, that was like, I know I had a girlfriend, and I think that the girlfriends in the movie Girl Trip, I think that was like Jada Pinkett. She was more of the kind of pushover.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, it was just like, girl, listen, get a little fight back.
Right.
And so I think that that's something that's good, because when you can't identify which friends you have, then you can build them up.
Yes, definitely.
You know what I mean? You can build them up. You can build them up and just take things to the next level. The sacrificer. That's a hard one.
Yeah, but that everybody needs that in their group. You know, that's the person that's you call at 3 or 4 in the morning. They're gonna pick up, hello, girl. Guess what?
Yes.
You know, so somebody that you know will always. That's always there for you, no matter what. No matter what's going on in their life, no matter what trials or tribulations are going on, that you know, that call, they're going to be there. But we all have a piece of that within us.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I think for each girlfriend that you have, you're going to do differently for each girlfriend. Each girlfriend's not going to get the same.
Yeah.
You know, and
some of my friends, I'm not sacrificing for you. And I think that's just because they just keep making bad choices.
Right.
So I think at a certain point, I will be the sacrificer. But I mean, I will give you a certain amount of time before I'm like, listen, I think I'm going to get into that leader role and just tell you and mama you a little bit and say, hey, get yourself together. I'm just not coming.
Right.
Because I was that person. I mean, even for one of my relationships, and now, I mean, we're still close, but I just don't sacrifice for her as much as I used to. Right. But one of the things that she said it helped her.
Right.
Like, as long as I was bailing her out, and I mean, you know, I'm coming with the Vaseline and my head back, you know, because she was always getting into stuff, and I was always bailing her out just financially and things like that. And I'm like, listen, I have a business now. You just on your own. Mm-hmm. And so now she's like, I don't have that no more. You used to come to my rescue, but now, you know. And so now she's grown up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you grow up.
Yeah, she's grown up a lot, and I'm so proud of her for just growing up and just the things that we went through. And we've been friends for over 20 years, and I'm telling you, it has been a journey, and she's been all of those things to me. But essentially, she has definitely been an authentic friend, and she's the one that will tell you, like, look, get yourself together. You know, no, she's taking my phone from me, and she's like, no, you're not going to be on your phone all day. You need your rest. And she's checked me into spas and things like that for my mental health days. Like, no, you need a mental health day. And so, you know, she's been more that friend, even though I've sacrificed, I think, a little bit more. But it's okay. It's okay. There may be a day that she may have to sacrifice a little bit for me too. So I just haven't had my turn with it yet. So I'm just taking, I'm just taking my time. But
for me, I have different sets of friends. Like, I have my childhood friends I grew up with, and that's a very small group. Then I have my college girlfriends, you know, and that's a small group, but it's a lot of us, and all of us have a lot going on, but we've been there for each other for years. And then I have my other set of girlfriends who all our children are friends. Okay. And we've been friends since the boys were like 6 and 7 playing sports and stuff together. So I have different sets of friends. So each of them fall into some of these categories that we're discussing. And it's good, because I know for any of them I could turn to and be like, look, I need X, Y, and Z, or I'm going through this and whatever. Especially when I was going through my divorce. You know, they were all supportive, like very, very, very supportive. Like, put your clothes on, boo. Get it together. You need to eat. You're a little small. Yeah. You know, those girlfriends. So, I mean, that's what you need it for. You need good girlfriends in your life.
I mean, listen, you really, really do. And one of the things that I was saying in the speech was that a lot of times you're hungry and thirsty. And I kept saying hungry and thirsty, because in those moments when you're hungry and thirsty, that's when your friendships are challenged.
Yes.
Like, when you feel like you said, like, I'm in this moment where it's just like, girl, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I've been in a war, I've been in a fight. You're not even thinking about anything. You're not even thinking about even being any of those.
Right. You're just there.
Yeah. You just numbed out.
Yeah.
And so I remember being there even with my husband, just few years ago when we were kind of like in that moment, like what we gonna do. And I know that I was numbed out. Like I just was like, look, I don't feel like fighting or arguing or anything, but by the grace of God, we was able to bring it in. And so thank God I had friends because I was stressed out.
Yeah.
And nobody even knew because I have a sense of knowing that I say to myself, I don't have to look like what I go through.
Right.
Now, I don't believe that you should look like you're going through something, even when you are going through something. Not that you're wearing a mask, but I think it's your responsibility to keep yourself together. And that's why it's important to have girlfriends in your place so they can help you do that.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes you however it comes out, whether it's in a nice way, a negative way, you need to hear it. And I keep saying back when I went through my divorce, I know I lost like 25 pounds. I was a size 2, but I didn't see that size 2 in the mirror because I was just there. So I would travel back here and I would stay with one of my best friends, and she would open the door and be like, oh my God.
Oh no.
And I'd be like, what? She was like, she'd be like, oh my God. What? She was like, girl, you have got to eat. But I needed that, and I look back at the pictures, I'm like, ooh, Jesus, I lost a lot of weight. A 2. I was a 2. Yes, a 2. But I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I didn't know because I was just going through everything. I was just trying to stay alive and maintain and keep going and keep pushing. I was not eating.
Yeah, and I wonder, why does it take so much out of women when we go through relationships?
It is
Because it seems like guys, they just be like,
they bounce right back. They get married and
it's just like we be
buy
like
houses and they don't
and we
bother
out
them.
in the streets like the
Looking
edges.
crazy.
Beyonce said in her lyrics that her roots was 60 days.
Right.
I was like, oh, so she ain't get no touch up. I guess that's what. And her hair grew out, and she ain't shave her legs no more. And I'm just like, Beyonce.
Yeah, man. It'll take you there. It'll definitely take you there. But when you snap out of it and you bounce back, it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
And then you look back like, why? Like, why did I do that? Like, why did I go through all that for nothing? And he wasn't even tripping. He wasn't even thinking about me.
And I think it's because of what you give up, though. I know when I'm coaching, because I started this wives night out, and when I'm talking to wives, they say the same thing.
Yeah.
I have lost myself. They'll go, I lost myself.
Yeah.
Like, how do you lose yourself?
See, look, I was extremely concerned. I'm with my girlfriend. You snap back nice. Thank you.
Yeah, because look, let's say if we have something. You made me, hold up, someone say, you made me realize that I too have different sets of friends and it's okay.
Yeah.
And then your brother says how proud he was of you.
Oh.
And someone said sometimes you gotta let them hit rock bottom, which is really good and it's hard.
Yeah.
Somebody said Al Bennett, sis.
Yeah. Hey.
And so I do think that we were talking about just when you are losing yourself, and I think you should, in a sense, lose yourself because if that self that you had, allowed yourself to get to that point, sometimes it's better to let stuff burn and just rebuild.
But the beauty of it is when you hit rock bottom and you go through what you go through, and whether it's a divorce, whether it's a sickness, whether it's you losing a spouse, whether, someone passes away, when you get to the other side, it's like, wow, like I did that. Like I'm good. Like I'm strong. Because when you go through, you don't see it. You don't see it. It's like it's cloudy. Everything is just cloudy and you're just going through the day, going through the process. But you have to pray, you have to meditate, you have to write. For me, when I was going through my divorce, I wrote everything down. Like I had sticky
notes. Did you?
What? Girl, I had sticky notes everywhere.
So like the Mary Jane.
Yeah, all over. You come in my mirror, it had you are amazing. You are beautiful.
Hey.
You're going to get this job. You're going to work in this school system. You're going to make this. Like I had to see, because I was so stressed of just everything that I used to have and control of, and then my boys weren't said that, my youngest one was like, I'm gonna stay with dad, and I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't want to show any emotion because I wanted him to be comfortable, and my biggest thing was I wanted my boys to be comfortable going through it because they go through it as well. And they still struggle with some things, but it's just like, it's a part of life. It's the things you go through. But I'm good.
Yeah,
like,
one thing I love that you said, and we were at dinner. We was at a birthday party. And you were saying how you really set up your life. Like, you manifested your breakthrough.
Yeah.
By, like, just writing stuff down and saying, like, and it's like you said, everything that I wrote down and I was sticking up, all of that stuff, you're living it now.
Yeah. I had one of my college girlfriends. She's like my sister. Her name is Ama, and she's very spiritual. And, you know, sometimes you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear it.
Jesus.
She ain't really Jesus. It's just like, no, you got to do it this way. And if you write it down, it's going to manifest. And she kept saying it and saying it. And I was like, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And then finally she was like, I'm going to get you this book. I want you to come over. We're going to drink some wine. I was like, so I really went over for the wine. But when I got there, she had a book called, what was the name of the book? Secrets? Is that Secrets?
The Secret.
The Secret.
Oh, that's good.
And then she made me, I was like, I want to watch this video. She was like, no, I need you to watch it. So I literally watched that with her, and she was like, you're going to be okay.
Did you? I mean, my reaction to The Secret was like,
I just was like,
wow.
Okay. So
I agree.
I took from that
with it. Yeah,
when I was going through at my rock bottom, and I just wrote everything down. Like, I wrote my husband a letter. I wrote his new wife a letter. You know, everything.
How?
Yeah. But I never mailed it. I just wrote it. But I had to get it out. I had to get it out.
I mean, this is so good.
I had to get it out.
This is
and I
so
did.
good.
I laugh now because I look back at it and I laugh and I'm like, oh, I was really going through it.
Yeah, this is so good. No, somebody said you were creating the masterpiece.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Not the masterpiece, but the masterpiece. And because peace is really, and I was teaching this yesterday at church, and I was just talking about how peace is available, but it's challenged.
Yeah.
It's often challenged, like just day to day. Sometimes I'm leaving church, I'm so excited, and it's like as soon as I get right on Branch Avenue and somebody cut me off, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, really?
Yeah.
You know, my phone ring or I'll see something or somebody call me, and it's like, I gotta keep my peace. I have to protect my peace. And I fight super hard for my peace. Even today, on my way picking my son up in my like, I was like, what in the world? And I was like, all right, stay calm, stay peaceful. And I'm thankful that the man who helped me, it was like he was spiritually sound. So the whole time he putting this stuff in there, he like, sis, you're gonna be all right. And don't you worry. And it just sounded like something that I would have said to somebody else.
Right.
You know, and he was just like talking about his life. I mean, he was on it. I was like, hey, listen, sir, you know what to do.
Yeah. And
he was like, I don't know if you believe in God. And I was so dumb. I was like, listen, I could talk to you about God, but right now I just gotta get to my son. I got stuff to do, and I gotta go on the show. I gotta do my makeup. And I didn't cry my lashes off, I'm popping my lashes. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
But it's just like God will give you peace, and if peace is not there, He'll send peace your way.
Yeah, and the one thing that I've learned that everybody's peace is different, and everybody's peace sounds different.
Oh wow!
So one of the things that I learned, just learning to be alone. Learning to enjoy my time alone, because I never had that, ever. When I say I've never had that. Wow. So, but the past 2 years, I've had that. And it's just like, oh, so this is what it's like. I don't have to go out. No, I'm good. Y'all go ahead.
You like, I don't got to be on every set.
I don't.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's different for me. And it's peaceful. And I like it. And it allows me to think. It allows me to meditate. And I used to say growing up, I was born and raised in the Catholic Church. So when I went to school in North Carolina, that's when I was exposed to Baptists and all that. And you would hear people talk to God. And I was just like, we don't do that in my church. I don't know what that is. But I've learned to do that. And it's a beautiful thing. And I remember one time I was at a conference, and I asked, we were in a small conference, and somebody raised their hand, and they were talking about speaking to God. So I raised my hand. I was like, well, what do he sound like? 'Cause I don't know what he sounds like. And I don't know if he's talking
is it
to
my
me.
mind,
Right.
or is it like some
So the pastor looked at me, and she was like, I said, listen, I'm serious. I don't know. But I've learned to listen for that voice. And it comes in different voices, and it comes at different times, and you just have to listen for it. And that's what my peace is. It's all good.
And one of the key things that the guy said today, while he was preaching to me as he was putting this funnel of gas in my car, it's like, sometimes God will just do certain things just to make you listen. And I'm just like, what did I do? And I'm thinking about it like, God, what did I do? What did I do? Or what am I listening for? But what amazed me is that he says, I give back because I'm grateful for what God did for me.
Yeah.
So he finds things that he has to do within each day as his way to give back and pay it forward. Yeah. So for me, it was just me hearing that. Like, I can't just go on about my life and going about my day and becoming successful without saying, okay, God, because I'm grateful, I'm going to find a way to help somebody each day.
Yeah. And that, I really live by that. I really do. One of the things that I do in my classroom, and some of my coworkers be like, why you always tell your kids you love them? Because I literally tell my kid every day before they leave, I love you. And I love you.
Because they don't
hear it. A lot of them don't hear it. And, sometimes they just need to know that somebody just loves them and just everybody needs to hear that. I'm not going around to everybody I love them, but at the end of the day.
But some people don't hear it.
They don't hear it.
And I think that's what's powerful about once you get your peace and once you get centered with yourself, you're now able to share that out. Yeah. And then now, because one thing I do know, if I'm following your Insta story, like I'm watching you, I'm watching you show your love, because all teachers don't seem like, you be like, oh, my kids, and and they, you know what I mean? Like I could tell that it's something that you're living. Yeah. I could tell that your peace is there by the way you live and just living your life out loud. And every time I see a picture, you're always like overwhelmingly laughing or smiling, and you can see that peace. Yeah. And so what would you say to a person that may be in a place where they don't have that peace?
You'll get it. You have to want to get it, and you have to fight for it. Just as well, if you may fight for a relationship, you may fight for a job, you have to fight for yourself, because nobody's going to fight for you but you. So at the end of the day, you really have to make the decision and say, this is what I want. But I think the issue that we have is women and people as a whole, we want it right now. I want to be good right now.
Yes.
But you can't. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It may happen in 24 hours. It may happen in 365 days. But you have to be willing to sit through it and go through that process. And sometimes you just got to sit in silence. Detach from social media. I've done that several times. Just got off Facebook. People are texting, you all right? You good? Yeah, I'm good.
Post a picture.
Yeah, I'm good. Remember, we didn't have social media before, people. So
it's hard to go through on social media.
But you have to detach.
I remember when my husband and I, and this was around Valentine's Day, and I remember it was rough because I was used to my husband rolling out diamonds and some other things, and I mean, he gave me just some roses. I was sitting there, not that I was ungrateful, but I knew it was an issue. And I remember going on Facebook, and I mean, somebody, I don't know if it was some ridiculous car, or it was just, you know what I mean? Because on Valentine's Day, people are literally just pouring out everything they're getting. Oh, I got this for breakfast, I got this for lunch, I just got this 5-carat ring, and you know what I mean? And I'm sitting there on Valentine's Day man, this is serious. So I had to get on Facebook, and I remember talking to my best friend, and I was like, this is a rough Valentine's Day for me because it's not the same. And I recognize that I may need to get off of Facebook for the rest of the day. And it's funny because I'm a married woman, but I was going through, and I had to detach from Facebook because I was crying on sight, oh my God.
But the issue that we have is that because of social media now, we're allowed to look at so many other people's lives. And everybody's life looks amazing.
It do.
It looks so good.
Oh, it do.
But it's not.
No.
You fronting. You not happy. Your man out every night.
Yes.
Seeing the bands.
Yes.
So it's or
dropping bands at the stadium. You're where you been?
Yeah, it's just you have to know what your reality is and what you want.
Yeah.
And it took me going through what I did to realize what my reality is,
Yeah.
and what's good for
Yeah,
me, what makes me
yeah,
happy.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't live for what other people think I should be living. I can't live for because my ex-husband was an NBA player and I should have a bank and I can't. That's not my reality.
Yeah.
My reality is making sure that I was put on this earth to educate these kids, to love my children, to become a good wife again, and do what I need to do. You know, and that's just what it's about.
And I think the transparency part for me, because a lot of times I be like, you tell everything, and I say, listen, what you fail to realize is that transparency is like the best ministry.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I am so not ashamed to tell any part because I know that somebody else is in it. And like, oftentimes if I say something that I just said, like, oh, that Valentine's Day was hard for me, and that Facebook was like talking back to me, like, see what I'm saying? It's real that bad. And I know there'll be somebody saying, girl, that happened to me on Christmas, or that happened to me on Sunday. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you said, my husband was out and about, and there was no date night, and then somebody posting #date night, and this was one of the worst days of my life. But when we're transparent with each other and say, hey, it's rough, because I know in the beginning of my early years of being married, I thought something was wrong with me. Like, I was like, until I had another married woman pull me to the side and was like, listen, honey, every marriage has bumps. Some are speed bumps. Some are like full potholes, and the whole wheel gonna fall off. But if she had never told me that, I would have still been sitting there like, I still don't know how to prepare collard greens good. Something wrong with me. Am I not a good wife? No, going through that season of really not even knowing, like, what in the world is going on?
Yeah.
So, I appreciate your transparency and you telling that story about, girl, I was a fool too.
Right.
And I had my friends talking to me because somebody else may be like, oh my God, I need to get myself together, or let me go connect with my girlfriends.
Yeah. You need that. You have to. Yeah.
People ask, like, okay, someone said transference is how we get free.
Yeah.
And someone said she is in her purpose for sure. Naturally, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy. That's my big sister from school, from college.
Okay, they rapping hard. And so we are talking girl talk, straight talk, and it'll be something that I'll be doing for now on my show. And I definitely tell us your social media, talk about your books real quick while we had time, because we'll be talking, girl.
So my social media, Instagram is Kids Wear Pink 2, or written by Janai. My website is kidswearpink2.com. I have 2 children's books. London Giselle Hall Presents My Beautiful Mommy. It's about my Bennett sister and her 5-year-old daughter at the time, how she was coping with her mother going through cancer. But Mel passed away April 17th, I think, or 13th of last year. So it's been a year, so it's getting ready to come up. And I just wanted to give back, and I wanted children to have a voice of just what it's like on the other side of watching your mother, go through this ugly disease. And then I wrote another book called Kids Wear Pink Too. And it's a book of affirmation statements so children can push through and get through the chemo and the everything that their parent will go through going through cancer. And at the end of this book, they can write or draw a picture of why they love somebody that Kids Wear Pink Too. So we're in a process now. We're doing some things in the community. We're getting ready to do a fashion show in North Carolina. We're putting together a scholarship in Melody's name to present to a Bennett Bell. So we're doing that. That's in progress right now. So it's just, we're taking baby steps with Kids Wear Pink Too. And I have a lot of my Bennett sisters that back me all the time. And I love them for that. And they'll give me ideas. And when I don't know, I call them. I'm like, look, I don't know what I'm doing. So we have a lot of things, coming up. So I'm excited about it. Yeah.
That's exciting. My son, he picked it up. It was 8:30 in the morning. And, he's like, I wear pink because, and he was asking me, well, what's the pink about? And I was able to tell him, and so I think that no one is focusing on the kids.
Yeah, because we always focus on the patient, and you don't realize. And it took for me going to chemo sessions with Mel and going through things and just watching how her daughter Lauren would interact and stuff like that. And it's funny because she just, when our mutual friend sent me a post day before yesterday, and Lauren's teacher read her book to the class.
Oh.
And Lauren sent me a video. And she was like, "Hi,
Oh
Aunt
my
Janai." She was like, "Hi,
God.
Aunt Janai. We love the book. Thank you so much. I love you." And I was just like, "Oh my!" I didn't even. I got so emotional. I didn't even repost it. I was just like,
I can't do it.
I can't do it. I do it another time. But
Yeah.
you know, it's just things like that. And you know, she's 8 now, and you know, she don't have her mommy.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Real quick, we last year went down for homecoming. My girls, we usually get together. We, you know, homecoming. We cutting up. We gonna cut up. So I get there Friday night, and Mel's daughter's there. And she's like, "So, Aunt Janai, are you going out tonight?" I was like, "Yeah." "Yeah, right? We going out, right?" And the girl's like, "Yeah." So she was like, "No, I want to have a spa party." I said, "Right now?" And she was like, "Yeah." So she pulled all her makeup out.
She was ready for it.
Oh, she was ready. So we stayed and had a little spa party. But it's what she probably needed, you know, for her to remind her of her mom and stuff. And so we had a good time.
But she'll always have that book.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just think that
Yeah.
is like the best thing that you can do is to
Yeah.
give someone a point of reference of their mom.
Yeah.
And then it's all over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's circulating around the world.
Yeah.
And my son is reading it. And there's other kids that's a part of her journey.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And so I think that is just so amazing, so awesome. If it's something that I can do, let me know. I definitely will help out because it definitely takes, I say it takes a vision to raise a child, but it also takes a village to raise a vision.
Yes.
And it takes all of us. And
Yes.
that's why I declare 2018 as a year of unity
Right.
and just pushing sisterhood. And it's like,
Right.
I'm a relationship advocate now. Like, you know, like, come on, let's push and let's make it happen. Because if I have a vision, the last thing I'm thinking about is how you feel. If I hurt your feelings, I'm like, let's get past that so that we could push the agenda of our sisters and help other people, because it's not about us, it's about others. And so I think we are out of time. It's so many comments and questions, and someone says, "That's the setup. That's ego. Transparency is how we get free." Growing pains, the word of God says, write the vision, make it plain. People are clapping. Melissa Moore is clapping. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's
Someone
always a
said
pleasure.
Woman of the Year. Now, I know that's right. You are. That is powerful. Yes, it takes a vision to raise a vision.
Hey, Zaida.
Hey, Pastor Margot. Well, thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, can you put her website up just real quick? I'm going to turn my camera around also so that my Facebook viewers can see it. So her website, what's your website? One more time.
Kidswearpink2.com. Kidswearpink2 is one word.
Yes, Kids Wear Pink 2. If you want to get in contact with her, you can go straight to her website at www.kidswearpink2.org. Sorry. Yeah, she just said it, okay?
Right.
Jesus. All right, well, we'll see you guys next week on the Coach Kellie Speak Show.
Take care. Bye-bye.